Hello everyone. This is a bit of a different type of video than normal. So recently I've been reflecting on my youth. Remembered the good old days when I used to ship Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon with Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians. And I wouldn't say that that part of my life was very long-lived. I mainly engaged in content and, looked at fan art, read some short little one-shots, the usual stuff. But then I started thinking, wait a second, I have a vague memory of writing some fan fiction. Did I actually do that? And found out that I had, and I thought it would be kind of fun to read this story with you. We're just gonna go for it, and we're just gonna see what happens. All right, we are here with good old untitled document. I have no idea what's in this. I don't remember this at all. I just had a vague memory of writing this before, so we're just gonna see how it goes. Let's just get started, I guess. I've always been considered the worst Viking in the village. I'm weak, scrawny, and have the uncanny ability to destroy everything I touch. I also can't kill anything. Being a Viking is an occupational hazard. Oh, the reference to the movie, guys! I'm so smart. We basically run around and kill things before they kill us. If there's anything weird, we kill on sight with no regard for science whatsoever. Okay? I don't know where this science thing is coming from, but I'm seen as a disappointment to the whole island, but mostly to my dad, Stoic the Vast. He's the chief of our tribe. They say when he was a baby, he popped a dragon's head clean off its shoulders. Do I believe it? Yes, I do. More references because I hate. Oh, I don't know why. I don't know. But me, nobody says, oh, there goes Hiccup the heroic, defender of Berk. Oh no. And also, let's just ignore this. They call me anything but. For example, there's Talking Fishbone, Mush for Brains, and worst of all, Hiccup the Slip-Up. Wow, that's a high-quality nickname right there. They always make fun of my name, but it's said that a hideous name will scare off gnomes and trolls. Like our charming Viking demeanor wouldn't do that. I really need to stop throwing in these references. I hate this. Quite frankly, I'd prefer losing my left sock to a troll over being an outcast. The only thing I can prove myself... Oh, sorry. The only way I can prove myself is by killing a dragon or other beast, but as I said before, I'm incapable of murder. Not that it's seen as murder to anyone around here. It's seen as more of a trophy, as honor for all Viking kind, so I guess I'll always be the last one out, the one my dad is ashamed to call his son. Ooh, that's rough, man. Hiccup! I can't do accents, but I'm gonna try, I guess. Gobber's voice yelled at me. Watch what you're doing there! I apologize to everyone who's ever existed and had to listen to me speak. I yelped as I saw I had accidentally lit a bola's ropes on fire. I hurriedly pulled it away from the furnace, stomping on it to put the fire out. Gobber sighed. Aye, Hiccup, you gotta be on your toes if you're ever gonna survive out there, he said, handing an axe to a Viking. Great, thanks a lot. Let me know when my dad thinks it's okay for me to even leave the house. Hiccup, you know it's not your fault. You're just a disappointment. All thin and weak, no potential. He's just trying to protect you. Imagine Gobber actually just insulting him like that. Straight up just you're don't worry, it's not your fault, you're just a disappointment. What the hell, man? Thank you for summing that up, I said, rolling my eyes and taking a sword from the wall to sharpen. Look, my point is, it's not that you look bad, it's just who you are that he can't stand. Thank you, Gobber, you're making me feel so much better, I sarcastically remarked as he shrugged his shoulders. I'm just giving you some advice. What advice? If you want Stoic to start listening to you, you need to stop all this. You just gesture to all of me. I love these references. That's it. Stop being all of you. I groaned in frustration. Gobber, you don't get it. If you don't be yourself, you'll be much happier. Top tier advice from Gobber right now. Oh my god. I threw my hands up, walking towards the back. No one listens to me. Oi, where do you think you're going? Oh, I don't know. Somewhere where I can bask in the shame and insults that have been inflicted on me my entire life? I turned to walk out the door. You could always hang out with the rest of the teens, he called after me. I shut the heavy door inside. Like they would talk to me anyway, I muttered to myself. I honestly had no idea where I was going, but decided to just walk and lose myself in thought. I had never had a friend. Everyone figures that if they're seen with me, they'll automatically get reduced to my standards, which is a nobody. Not that they're wrong. I would probably seem like a leech just hanging on to someone. I tried that once, hanging out with Fish Legs, Rough Nut, Tough Nut, Snotlout, and Astrid, but they just pulled the leech off and threw it in the empty pond. I guess I sorta am like a leech. Or like day old supper, the thing no one wants around. Wow! Oh, this writing is so good, dude. I'm really ahead of my time. I slipped on something, making me tumble to the ground. I groaned in pain, sitting up to look at what had caused my fall. Ice? In Berk, it snows 9 months of the year and hails the other 3, but today was just cloudy. No snow, no rain, so what was ice doing here in the middle of the forest? It can be cold, and things can freeze because it's cold. There doesn't have to be, like, rain. Of course, I have a reputation for being dangerously curious, so I followed the seemingly trail of ice. What does that even mean? The seemingly trail of ice? Imagining my past self, to me, that probably meant, like, the ice was forming in what looked to be a trail, but this is just really bad. It was then I heard a voice cry out for help. The trail led to a ditch, and when I looked down, I saw a young man who looked about my age, trying to find a way out. So I guess when I say ditch, I mean, like, I'm picturing where Toothless went down, for those of you who have seen this movie, which hopefully you have, because it's a great movie and you should all watch it. Help! He yelled again. His hair was bright white, his skin pale, dressed in blue and brown, barefoot, a staff in his hands. His gaze landed on me, and electric blue eyes met forest green. Can you please help me out of here? He asked, hopefully, as I caught myself staring. I think I might have some rope, hold on. I reached into my vest pockets and found a bit of coiled rope among other trinkets. I was an inventor part-time, so I found things on the island and brought them back to my house for building. I threw the rope to the boy, and he grabbed it, beginning to climb as I tried to pull him out. Finally, he reached the top, and before I knew it, he tackled me to the ground, pinning my shoulders down. I panted, suddenly frightened by the stranger. His eyes stared into mine, their amazing blue color capturing my attention. The staff in his hand was placed under my chin, as a knife would be. He smirked. "Thank you." And he was gone, running off into the trees. He jumped against a rock, pushing into the air before falling down and having to regain his balance. I tried to catch my breath, relaxing a little. I stood up, dusting myself off before weakly walking back towards the village. The whole way there, I kept thinking of the boy, of those beautiful eyes that had seemed to captivate me. I ran a hand through my hair. I'd never see him again. Good. Okay. Over the years, I had always complained about never having a girlfriend, but really, it was a cover-up to hide the fact that I'm gay. I hadn't told anyone because it would make me even more of a disappointment than I already was. The whole island would turn against me, not like they weren't against me already. But the boy was attractive. He was mysterious as well, which made me extremely curious and left me wanting to know him better. Oh god, this was bad. I guess I really am dangerously curious. I hate the punctuation! When I opened the door to my home, I saw my father by the fire, staring at it thoughtfully. I quietly closed the door and tried sneaking upstairs to my room. Hiccup. How am I gonna do Stoic, dude? Hold on, I'm just getting into character. Hiccup. His voice broke the silence, and my cover. We need to talk. God's help me. Dad, I kinda have something to tell you too. Is he gonna out himself right now? Is he coming out right? Alright, I would tell him subtly so he wouldn't know. What does that even mean, bro? Well, there was an overlap of, I've decided I don't need a girlfriend, and I've decided to get you a girlfriend. Followed by a what from both of us. What is this situation, dude? So I just took the plot of How to Train Your Dragon, but instead of, hey, I have to kill dragons to be cool, and I just found one and I can't kill dragons, so I'm just gonna befriend him instead. Look at me, I'm so cool. I instead am like, yeah, I'm gay, but no one understands me. They all hate me, and everyone's homophobic, so but I've decided, because I met a hot boy, I decided that I am going to come out anyway, and my dad is gonna set me up because that is what's gonna make me cool. Getting a girlfriend and killing a dragon in the How to Train Your Dragon universe are not, like, equal things. You first. he said. No, you go. Alright, I think it's time you get a wife. Oh man, I should have gone first. Cause I was thinking, there are tons of wifeless Vikings out there, and I'm just a scrawny nobody, so... Hiccup, you're coming of age, and we need a new generation to carry on after us. But can't we leave that to the other guys? Son, you need to do this. You've been asking for a girlfriend for months, and I think it's time you settle down. Dad, I don't want to get married. I'm just imagining, this scene in the movie, but they're talking about, women. Stoic just laughed, playfully shoving his son. Why did it change to third person? Come on, yes you do. Rephrase. Dad, I can't get married. But you will get married. No, I'm really very extra sure that I won't. It's time, Hiccup, he said more menacingly. Can you not hear me? This is serious, son. I will not just stand by while you selfishly refuse to keep the bloodline going just because you don't want to. You meet possible wives tomorrow, and try not to be so... this. You just gestured to all of me. Deal? This conversation is feeling very one-sided. Deal? I sighed in defeat. Deal? I instantly regretted my answer, but I had no chance arguing with him. Good. Choose wisely. I'll be back. Probably, he said, taking a bag and slinging it over his shoulder. And I'll be here, I said, watching him leave. Maybe. I woke up the next morning, groaning as I remembered what it was I was supposed to be doing. I went down to the Great Hall where they always hold the wife-choosing ceremonies. I pulled open the heavy wooden doors, making the whole room fall silent. Hiccup, there you are! Gobber's voice greeted as he threw his interchangeable hand, which was currently a hammer, around my shoulders, leading me down the walkway to the middle of the room. That was a horrible sentence, by the way. A few Vikings had shown up, including Roughnut, Toughnut, Snotlout, Fishlegs, and Astrid, but not many others. You don't have to list every single name, by the way. They probably just came to laugh and make fun of me and my choice in a wife. They would say I had no taste, and I really didn't when it came to women because I had never gone after them. Now, here are 3 of the best Viking wives Berk can offer up. I looked at them and found them all horrifying. Okay, they weren't attractive, even from a heterosexual's perspective, and most looked older than me by about 10 years or so. This is the best Berk can offer up, I whispered to Gobber. Well, no offense, but not many people around here want to be your wife. I mean, that's fair, I guess. I rolled my eyes. I'm very aware of that, Gobber. You must choose whether to marry Helga, Radka, or Navina, he announced for the whole room to hear. I assumed he was going left to right, and looked between each of the women. Thoughts of me spending the rest of my life with a woman I would never love, and have children with her flashed through my mind. Was I really gonna spend the rest of my life unhappily just to please my father? I can't, I screamed, running out the doors and leaving everyone astounded. I kept running through the village, careful not to hit anyone as emotions swirled inside of me. I ran and ran through the forest until I came to a pond where I collapsed, tears spilling from my eyes. I ceased my crying when the pond began to freeze over. I looked up to find the boy from before, walking across the newly forming ice as if his feet were doing the magic. You, was all I said as I wiped the tears away. We've never been properly introduced, he said, holding his hand out to me. Hesitantly, I took it, and he pulled me to my feet. I'm Jack Frost. My eyes went wide. Jack Frost, the Winter Spirit? He bowed. Yours truly? I stared at him in awe. But wait, can't you fly? Jack sighed. I could, but after I was knocked into that ditch, my staff broke. He held the staff out to me, which was very clearly split in two. Wait, wasn't he, holding the staff and threatening him at the beginning? I guess it was broken then, too. He was just holding up, half a staff. Oh, man, I'm sorry. How'd you end up in there, anyways? Ever heard of Pitch Black, the boogeyman? Yeah, but that's just an old legend. Jack shook his head. He's real, and he does not like me. A silence slipped over us before the boy broke it. I like how he's saying the boy, even though he knows his name. Why were you crying? Oh, my dad wants me to get married, so... Ouch. So young? That's exactly what I said. That is not what he said. But he never listens to me. I sighed, sitting on a rock. Jack took a seat beside me. You never told me your name. I took a deep breath. Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III. I expected a laugh, a taunt, some form of cruelty about my name, but that never happened. All he said was, "Nice to meet you, Hiccup." I blinked in surprise. Wait, you don't think my name is weird? Oh, no, it is. Why, do people tease you about it? All the time. I've never understood that. I mean, I love playing tricks on people, but it's usually fun things that don't offend anyone. But bullying is different. It wasn't your choice to be named Hiccup, it was your parents' idea. Okay. This is very natural dialogue. I've never actually thought of it that way. I smiled smallly to myself, letting my mind drift into a sweet surrender. What? No one had ever given me a compliment or been nice to me in any way. Ever? So hearing this from Jack made me happy. I could try to fix your staff, I suddenly said, and the white-haired boy looked at me excitedly. Really? Yeah, I'm an apprentice at the blacksmith's. I'm sure I could put something together for you. I'd really appreciate it. We spent about 30 minutes just talking about random things. That's very specific. Everything that had happened, all my problems, faded away. It was just us, me and Jack and the pond. It was a beautiful moment, when suddenly the fact that my overprotected dad chose to ignore me hit me like a freight train. And you know, I honestly, that is kind of out of nowhere, but sometimes it do be like that. Sometimes you're just chilling with the homies and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm just remembering that how much my dad sucked. Oh, how would I ever explain the fact that I didn't choose a wife? He would probably not listen to anything I had to say and call me a disgrace and embarrassment to the family name. Haddock isn't really that good of a name to live up to anyway. What's wrong? Jack's comforting voice shook me from my thoughts. My dad's gonna flip out. When Jack gave me a confused look, I added, about the marriage. I told you before that he never listens to me. He's gonna go on about how I'm the most terrible Viking in the village and the worst son anyone could ask for. He placed a cold hand on my shoulder. Don't worry, Hiccup. You did what was right. Never stop following your heart, and don't you ever change yourself to impress your dad. Now this is advice right here. This is the advice that Gobber should have been giving. They've known each other for 30 minutes and they're already in love. I smiled at Jack, and before I knew what I was doing, I kissed him on the cheek. I blushed, realizing what I had just done, but Jack only smiled. Well, I might as well go talk to him now before he gets mad that I'm out so late, I said, discovering the sun was setting. I got up from the rock and headed to climb up and out of the round sanctuary. That's a weird... I know what I'm talking about, but that's a weird description. I took one last glance at Jack before heading home. As soon as I opened the door, I was face to face with Gobber. Oh gods! Gobber, don't scare me like that. Quite the performance, Hiccup, I sighed. Here we go. What was all the fuss about? Gobber, I can't get married. He stared at me before sighing, gazing at the floor instead. I understand, my boy. No, you don't, I muttered, though he didn't seem to hear me. I know it's tough with Stoic always telling you what to do. You're short, no muscles, can't lift a hammer or swing an axe. You got no brain with beasts. Thank you for summing that up. Gobber approached me, putting his good hand on my shoulder. But you do have heart. I shrugged his hand off, walking past him towards the fireplace. Heart doesn't get anyone anything around here, if you hadn't noticed, I said, sitting down by the hearth. Aye, believe me, I've noticed. He clambered next to me, running a finger on the edge of the hammer. I'm assuming that one of his hands is a hammer. Stoic's always been a tough Viking. I mean, ever since he was a baby, he was killing beasts. He's got a lot of muscle, and it might not seem like he could ever care for someone, but he does love you. I stared at the floor, fidgeting with my fingers. No matter how much you slip up, no matter how many times he calls you a disgrace, he will always love you. It's what fathers do. No matter who you are, who you become, he'll always be there to support you, whether he likes it or not. This conversation feels very weird because it's like, I don't know, it's not like, oh, don't worry, Hiccup, like, Stoic is just a little bit crazy in the brain and he takes that out on you because he's stressed, he doesn't know what he's doing. And it's like, oh, he doesn't mean it, he loves you, he just doesn't know how to protect you. It's not that. It's like, yeah, whether he likes it or not, he's your dad, so I find that hard to believe. Don't give up on him just yet. He might surprise you. With one last squeeze of my shoulder, Gobber got up and hobbled to the door on his peg leg. I'm postponing the wife-choosing ceremony until Stoic gets back from his journey. He's gone to look for the dragon nest. Good luck, Hiccup. Good luck with what? Just life? Thanks, I guess? With that, Gobber was gone, and I was left alone by the fire. I decided to start drawing up some ideas for fixing Jack's staff. I could always just tie some leather around it, but that never holed. I went upstairs to my room to work on some sketches for Jack. I was up until dusk working on it. I feel like dusk isn't that late. I guess I don't know when... No, didn't he come back at sunset? Okay, whatever. Let's not get into logistics. The next morning, I nearly jumped out of bed and took the papers with me. I ran through the forest to the same pond as before. How does he know he's gonna be there? I guess he doesn't. Jack! I called, seeing him sitting on a rock. He instantly stood up as I carefully climbed down to him. I slipped a little near the bottom, falling off the rock face. I landed in Jack's arms and blushed as I squirmed out of his grasp. Thanks. I drew some sketches for your staff, I told him, handing him the papers. I'm not sure which one will work, though, if any. You know, if you could build something to hold it together, I could try to use my magic to fix it. Why can he... Okay. Spoilers for Rise of the Guardians. There's a scene where Jack's staff is broken, and he's like, oh no, my staff, like I need my... And all he does is pick up the staff, the two pieces, shove them together, and uses his magic, and it fixes. So I don't know why he's like, oh, I don't know how to fix my... You know, well, now that you say that, if you could just like hold one piece, and I hold the other piece, then I could just probably fix it with my magic, because I'm magical. It's like, what are you... He didn't do this before? He didn't instantly do what he did in the movie and just fix his staff? Anyway, alright, should I go work on it? If you want to. I grinned before leaving to go the Gobbers. I knew Jack was smiling at my enthusiasm. What? I entered through the back, hoping Gobber wouldn't hear me. Hiccup, what are you doing in here so early? Well, so much for stealth. Oh, I'm making a brace. Custom, for one of my friends. Custom brace? What in Thor's name would they need that for? Why? I don't know, just let him have a brace. Well, it's a very specific thing they want the brace for, so it can't just be a normal one. Pressure, mild calibration stuff. Uh-huh. That did not answer that question. Also, more references because... Yahoo. Right. Well, at least you're doing something. As soon as he walked away to the front of the shop, I began working on the brace. I built it like a square, so one end could hook on to one half of the staff, while the other end held the other half. Then you could squeeze them together with a lever. I finished surprisingly quickly, and ran off to the pond to bring Jack the device. That was quick, the white-haired lad said as I showed him the brace. Let me see the staff. He handed the broken piece of wood to me, and I secured it in the metal contraption. Alright, use your magic, I said, smiling. Jack took a deep breath before grabbing the staff and closing his eyes in concentration. A magic glow appeared around the break in the staff, and frost began covering it again. From the elated look in Jack's eyes, it had apparently worked. He took the brace off and aimed the tip of the staff at a tree, frost shooting out and freezing it solid. Jack laughed and began to gently float above the ground. He began doing spins and flips in the air. I watched him with a smile. He looked so happy. Suddenly, he looked at me and flew into my chest, knocking me over in a hug. I blushed, but hugged back, thanking the gods Jack was in my life. And he's been in my life for only 3 days! We stayed that way for a few moments before he let go, pulling back to look at me. I took the time to analyze his eyes. The outside of the iris was more of a teal color, while the inside was a beautiful cerulean blue. It almost replicated a snowflake if you used your imagination. What does that mean? Just as I realized the position we were in, he asked, "Do you want to fly?" I blinked. "You'd take me with you?" "Of course. After all, you were the one who fixed my staff. I think you deserve a break from all your problems and work." I thought he was gonna say, like, you deserve a thank you or something, but he got up from on top of me and pulled me to my feet. So, how does this work? Jack winked. Just hold on. Suddenly I was pulled quickly into the air along with Jack, holding on to his hand desperately. Jack! I shouted in fear. When we reached the clouds, he came to an abrupt stop, sending me flying above him until I landed bridal style in his arms. I blushed heavily, clinging onto the neck of his sweatshirt in fear. Don't worry, Hick, I won't drop you. We're using nicknames now. Somehow saying those words made me relax a little, and I sank into his touch. He smiled at me before gracefully flying along beneath the sea of clouds. The sun was setting over the hill, giving them a beautiful pink and gold hue in the light. I reached my hand out to touch one, the mist nearly invisible to my fingers. We went higher through them and were greeted with a night sky full of stars. The moon's silver light illuminated Jack's face, and I stared at him for a while. I really was starting to fall for him, and I smiled, for the first time, thinking it was okay. The aurora borealis made me look up in awe. It's so beautiful, I murmured, staring at the sky of wonder surrounding me. We ended up flying around the island, seeing the sun set below the sea. I guess I never really knew how beautiful Berk was. Well, with it being 12 days north of Hopeless, a few degrees south of freezing to death, and located solidly on the meridian of misery, it's no wonder the tough, tasteless people here didn't notice its beauty. They're on its, and also more references. Jack landed softly on the frozen pond, walking across it as if it weren't slippery at all. He put me down and smiled at me. So, what are you gonna do about your dad? I don't know. I might as well get a wife, so he doesn't tie me to a mast and send me off for fear I've gone mad. More references! Why would he think that? I looked into Jack's eyes. I trusted him. I could tell him the truth. Right? I tilted my head back and forth, trying to find the words. I'm gay, I eventually said. That's one of the major reasons why I don't want to marry those women. Remember what I said about standing up for what you believe in? Yeah, I remember. Just hope he listens to me. I don't think he will, Hiccup. Just saying right now. Jack smiled reassuringly at me. Suddenly a cold pair of lips was on mine, and Jack was kissing me. My eyes went wide before fluttering shut as I kissed back. His hands went to my face, and my knees went weak. I put my arms around his neck for support. I couldn't believe what was happening. Butterflies exploded in my stomach, and fireworks went off in the background. He pulled away, leaving me wondering if that was real. I opened my eyes to see Jack smiling while biting his lip. It's late. You should get going. See you later, Hick. I said, still not comprehending the fact that he kissed me. Yeah, I'll see you later. He grinned, showing his brilliant white teeth before shooting up into the sky. I stared after him, my mind still in a haze. I touched my lips and smiled. A boy had just kissed me. And it was one I trusted. Known him for 3 days. One I was falling for. Known him for 3 days. It was Jack Frost. My heart giddy, I turned to walk back home. I spent the next few hours just playing the kiss over and over in my head. His lips were cold, but they felt so nice. I sighed, putting my pillow over my face. I wasn't gonna get much sleep tonight. The next morning, I woke up just an hour later than I usually do. I snuck out of the house and followed the familiar trail into the woods. When I arrived at the pond, I saw Jack already there. He noticed me and flew to my side, picking me up and floating us down to the ground near the rock where we first met. He kissed me again, and I sighed, melting into it. My lips were now hyper-aware of everything that was happening as he continued kissing me sweetly. We separated, and I removed my arms from his neck and legs from his waist. So that's where it leaves off. That's the end. But I do have a secret bonus scene. Later. This devil has been poisoning the mind of my son, making him think homosexuality is righteous. Will we let him continue on this sinful path to steal our children away for a life of crime? A life of crime? No! The crowd screamed. Then we shall send him back to hell where he belongs. Okay, we're going into Hunchback of Notre Dame territory, I guess. There was a cheer from the people as Stoic turned to Jack. I love Hiccup, and he loves me. Why does that... Shut it! Stoic yelled as he punched Jack's face with his huge, powerful fist. "You're the devil himself," he whispered, so only the white-haired boy could hear him. Blood dripped from the corner of his lips as he glared angrily at the huge Viking in front of him. "People of Berk," I shouted, looking around at everyone. "I have been called many names. Talking Fishbone, Mush for Brains, and worst of all, Hiccup the Slip-Up. And I am all of those things." "What is this?" Stoic asked. "No muscle, no potential, no brains. But I have a heart. And this boy," I said, pointing to Jack. "Hiccup, get back in the house," my father commanded, but I just ignored him. He never listened to me. Now it was time to give him a taste of his own medicine. Oh, shoot! This beautiful human being is in possession of it. There were some gasps and boos amongst the crowd. If we're such a disgrace to the gods for being in love, for being happy, why would they choose to make us this way? I never wanted to be an outcast. I never wanted to be gay. I never wanted to be the biggest disappointment this island has ever seen. That's just how I am. Just how the gods made me. I saw some Vikings exchange looks. Maybe it was working. "Hiccup, this does not involve you." "Yes, it does," I shouted over him, making some people go silent in awe. "I have been trying to tell you for 17 years that I was never going to be what you wanted. But you never listen to a single word I have to say." I took a deep breath, calming down a little. "Jack is everything to me. And if you kill him," I said, pulling my dagger from my vest, "you'll have to kill me too." Oh shit, that is crazy. Oh my god. Standoff with Stoic, I guess. That's not what I was expecting at the end of this. That's the end of the story. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give me a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe for more of my thrilling content. I wrote so much fanfiction back in the day. I don't have any more of them, but I have plenty more fanfic that I can read, potentially, so if that's something you want to see, also let me know. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Bye! I'm just, like, dying slightly, but that's fine.
What the?